Hello. Welcome to the Property Premier League, the weekly podcast where property meets Premier League football. I'm your host, Chris Mervyn, and joining me today is my co-host, Jamie Aspland. Each week, we'll dive into the world of property and football from the unique perspective of professionals who live and breathe both. As die-hard fans of Spurs, Palace and Everton, we know a thing or two about the highs and lows that come with both the beautiful game and the property market. And whether it's the thrill of a last-minute goal or the challenges of a market shift, we've got the stories, insights, and banter to keep you entertained. So, if you're passionate about property, Premier League football, or both, you're in the right place. Get ready for your weekly dose of all things property and football with the Property Premier League. Let's kick off. Jay.
Morning, mate. How are you?
Not bad, mate. Not bad at all. Fun times in the Premier League, eh?
Yeah, I think we said it before, but we've never had it where it's been more managers moving than players, I think, in the January or the end of the January transfer window, should I say.
Yeah, and it mirrors kind of, in a way, lovely link section into the property industry in total. Lots of new instructions I see right across the board, and the market's starting to get moving, and sales and transactions been linked up now as well.
Yes, yeah, definitely, yeah. Seeing that turn of, as I always say, winter leaving and springing. I don't know what it's been like with you, but we've had a lot of rain here. Today is the first sunny day I can remember in a long while, and the next week's rain, but it's beginning to show signs of shoots of spring, should we say.
Yeah, I went on the fringes of the area I cover, which is Devon, into Somerset, and it was basically driving on a road just surrounded by fields of water. Not a great world to live in, really, at the moment, especially for farmers and things like that as well, I guess. But yeah, every pothole is getting worse. Oh my God, what are we paying this council tax for? But let's not get political. Let's look at the results from last week. We're not going to talk FA Cup because who cares about FA Cup? You only care about it if you're in it, and we're definitely not. So let's go back to the results from last week. There we go. Okay. So Tuesday. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So Chelsea 2, Leeds 2.
What a comeback.
Yeah.
2-0 down to get 2 or some comeback, to be fair.
Yeah. Good result for Leeds, to be honest. And then Everton 1, Bournemouth 2. Disappointed with that, mate, aren't you?
And that is why we hate football again. I went from loving football to going Fulham away to then losing 2-1 to Bournemouth. First half is actually probably, if I'm taking my fan glasses off it, realistically, we do it to teams all the time where the first half we go a goal down, they don't finish us off and get a second, and then at half time we rally and come out and do what they happened to us, really, because in the first half we should have been, I don't know, 4-1 up or something like that with the good,
you had the
not
chances.
just half chances, but good chances. And then all of a sudden that 9-minute spell of letting 2 goals in and getting a man sent off, which VAR is meant to make the game better and consistent, but it doesn't. But again, we weren't good enough to win, and that's what happens. But a massive frustration from where we've come from to do that. Really poor.
We'll look at the league in a minute, mate. But you're still up there. You're in a good position, a healthy position, and probably a position which you would have taken at the start of the season anyway. Definitely, because as you know, we know you were a relegation points counter. You love to do those sums, yeah. I mean, moving on swiftly and then swiftly again to Spurs versus Newcastle. The end of the Frank era. Sad times all the way through, really. We're just Spursy. That's what we are. It's a shame. And Frank obviously went afterwards, so he's no longer in charge of Spurs.
Did you think it was the only thing that could happen, Chris, out of interest, or did you think it was players or the board, or what did you think? Did you think it was a right for Frank to go, or?
Yep. Yeah, so I called it after West Ham. I thought we needed to do something then. I mean, the annoying thing is, and you could say it's planned if you were skeptical. Most fans will look at it this way for Spurs, but I mean, after the transfer window, he was got rid of. So nothing you can do about the squad. You can't improve. You can't change. You can't change it. Bring in a different player to change the system slightly or anything like that. So you've got to play with use what you've got now as well. I just think that it could have been done a lot sooner, and we would have maybe picked up another 3, 4, 5 points in that. Yes, it's a tough period, and I think I looked at the last couple of games, including the match coming up with Arsenal as well, and thought, we'd be lucky to get any points out of them. And we did well at City, but you just can't play that at home. I mean, we haven't won at home since 1882 or something crazy like that. So he had to go. Nice guy. It will come out in the wash eventually that he hasn't been backed, or there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Players falling out with him, egos getting in the way as well, and him having to play people because he felt pressured maybe as well. But fundamentally, he just hasn't done it, and I don't know what the answer is. We can talk about the new manager in a minute, but let's move on quickly to the rest of the results, and then we can talk about the new manager perhaps. West Ham 1, Man United 1. So crikey, at one point, obviously, it was West Ham 1, Manchester United 0, and Man United did go well getting back into that. No haircuts for that guy. Unfortunately, he's going to be planning out his Christmas present now, which will be ahead. It's difficult, isn't it? Is this the sort of?
I think any team to win 5 games in a row, take Man United out of it for any game team. I looked at, I think
Arsenal have done it.
Sport Joe did a thing on Facebook, and there's no teams won 5 in a row. So we want Mate to get his hair cut, but I think that was a big shout by him in the first place, because if you'd said 3 in a row, I still think you struggle to get teams to win 3 in a row in the league that is where at the moment. But it's 5 in a row is a big ask.
He's done well getting some coverage out there, and he really, because at the end of the day, it's like me saying, I'm going to grow my hair until Spurs win the Champions League. Well, you'll be growing it for the rest of your life then.
You're weighing your head down.
I
wish I could say the same. I wish I had that same problem, but I haven't.
Jay, don't grow any hair on your head.
Exactly.
For those listening on podcast, Jay is a little bit challenged on the follicle side. Don't grow your hair, mate, until Everton win the league. Right, just leave it there. When we had Thursday and Wednesday and Thursday matches last week as well. Wednesday matches, Villa 1, Brighton 0. Villa getting back on it, which is good to see. Man City at home, I get that, but Fulham, I didn't really think they were that in it. They did challenge a little bit, but Man City seemed to have a good, result there as well.
Mate, to be fair, Man City,
they've ticked over a little bit, and they had to get that result because obviously Arsenal playing the next day, which we'll talk about in a minute. Forest 0, Wolves 0. The last match for Dyche as well.
Dyche. I'm gutted for him, actually. I'm not a Dyche hater, so I am gutted for him. Where
were Forest when he got in there?
About where they were now.
Yeah,
I think actually that's a good point. But I think they weren't in the bottom. Well, were they the bottom 3?
I think they'd just fall into it. I don't think to be honest, he hasn't won enough. That's his problem for Marinakis. But who does Marinakis want? I know they've got a new manager now, but what do they want them to do? I mean, it's Forest.
The thing that gets me is, and I know Steve said last week, he wasn't been backed. I think that's a break. He must have come across well in his interview because he didn't win a game at Wolves. And I appreciate them saying, but he wasn't back. They sold his best players. He didn't win a game. No. So you look at, let's take, and we'll talk about him in a minute, but the Brentford, I was the one that said Brentford will be cannon fodder. Well, they've took his best players and he still gets a tune out of them. So it's easy to say that. I just think it's a risky one putting Pereira in there. And then, it's not done and dusted, is it?
I think Paul Merson loves a soundbite about Spurs for obvious reasons, and I think he was talking about the Wolves manager Perez, and obviously Igor Tudor, the new Spurs manager as well, and saying, "Well, I think Wolves manager is a better bet because he's got Premier League experience." It's all right having Premier League experience, but you've got to actually be able to win in the Premier League, and that just doesn't happen. I mean, it's a clean slate, I guess, in some respects, but Forest 0, Wolves 0. Sad ending for Dyche, really. And
Just trying to Google it now to see where they were. So
I don't know if this is going to be a negative reaction on it. Where do you see Forest now being close to them? Do you think they got this will be a negative reaction to them? Or do you think they're going to manage a bounce? I think I think they're going to be drawn into it more.
Yeah, I mean, I was. Well, we'll do the league in a minute, but I've got the answer to that now. So they were 18th.
Okay, let's move on. Crystal Palace 2, Burnley 3. Great result for Burnley. Palace, could they be in trouble? Could they be dropping down?
I think we'll see the league in a minute, and we'll talk about it in a bit more detail. But it's going to be, it doesn't matter what any industry you're doing. If you're leaving somewhere, the mood changes in companies. That's why when you give your notice, some companies will say you can go straight away. Do you know what I mean? These things can happen because of this is the prime example of what's coming in 2 months, 3 months time.
Yeah, definitely. Sunderland 0, Liverpool 1. Liverpool find
I think that's Sunderland's first loss at home this season.
Yeah, it is. It is. They're really strong at home. I can't sure what we predicted things. I do know what we did predict though. I did predict that. Again, it's a Brentford result. I don't know what I'm with Brentford. Brentford won. Arsenal won. I said that Arsenal would drop points and it would be a draw, and it was a 1-1 result. Yeah. Unbelievable. I should be backing myself against for Brentford. I really should be. Tough place to go. They're in form, Brentford as well. So that's why I thought they would drop points. And obviously City pulling it back there as well. Let's have a quick look at the league. Arsenal obviously still at the top.
Closer than you think now, though, when they've got to play each other.
Yeah, so there's 3 points there to play for, which can be taken out, which means that if City were to win that, then it would be 1 point in it. So that is tough. Can you see both Arsenal and City winning every game for the rest of the season? There's going to be points dropped, isn't there? So it's going to be close, I think.
To be honest, as much as you could say Villa's still in there, I think it's a 2-horse race this time. You could say it's 2 and a bit with Villa, but I don't think they'll have the staying power of them other two. They might surprise me, but at the moment, it's a 2-horse race.
Yeah, I mean, if the funny thing is, looking at the points here, we've got Manchester United on 45 and 4th, Chelsea in 5th at 44, Liverpool 42. So a win, some odd results elsewhere, and then some consistency, then teams could jump other teams to get into the top 4, definitely. And even doing down, obviously, Brentford are in 7th at 40 points, and then a little bit of a gap then to Everton, another 3 points there as well. So is it insurmountable? Everton get up to 5th? I mean,
I think we're too inconsistent, mate, if I'm being honest. I genuinely think that. And I think I was chatting to an Everton fan yesterday, and you may sound crazy because I'd love to take Chai to a European away day because they're the best, but it may be wrong this season. We could end up in a Forest situation or a team, not just only Forest, but get into Europe. You're playing away on a Thursday night in Kazakhstan and then back on a Sunday. And our squad isn't, as we joked with me and Steve, we've got 3 keepers on the bench sometimes. Our squad would have to be overhauled in the summer by not losing anybody and gaining a quite amount. So as much as I want us to play European football, and I'd love it for me personally as a fan, for the club, I'm not sure. But I think you've summed it up perfectly there. Arsenal, Man City, it's one of them two. I'd be surprised if Villa don't finish in the top 4 now. And the rest of it, the 4th place, 5th place, and 6th place could go to any of them 4, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's. We'll see what happens with United now. They've had a little bit of a draw, but they fought back to it at the end of the day, so they didn't lose. But you've got Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Brentford. So yeah, and then Everton. You never know as well, and obviously Bournemouth on the same points total as well, aren't they? So interesting. Let's have a look at the bottom of the league because that's obviously
this is the interesting bit, mate.
This is the interesting bit. This is interesting. Bottom of the league, got Wolves 9 points. They're down. No problem with that. Burnley 18 points. They're technically not down, but they are down, I think.
The problem is the other teams above them are doing not I wouldn't say well, but well. If you look at the ones above them, it's sort of West Ham and Forest might get burned to Burnley, but West Ham are, if you look at them results, they've got 10 points in the last 6 games. So that's a fair gig for points wise of a team in the bottom 3. So I think Burnley's problem is the others might just carry on matching or better in their results, which means they won't get out of where they are.
Yeah, and you look at the other results as well. You've got Brighton in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They've got 3 losses and 2 draws. My team Spurs last couple as well. We've got.
I genuinely don't think you. I personally feel that I know people talk about Palace and the man at Brighton's getting some stick, and probably Steve misses out being on this today, but I don't see Leeds in it now. I'd be very surprised if you're still in it. I think it will go down to West Ham and Forest for the next 5, 6 games, either equaling each other's results or better each other's results, and there might be a swing in that. But
let's talk about Spurs this weekend. We'll talk about the matches coming up at the end of the podcast, of course, like we usually do. But just moving forward, we do have the London derby this weekend with Spurs Arsenal. It's a tough ask for Spurs to get anything out of that, but it would be quite a Spursy thing to do. So it's the hope that kills you. I am clinging on to it because that's what we've got at the moment. New manager in place. Everybody looks good on YouTube, and the feelings are he's quite attacking.
That's
what do you know about him?
What we've seen and read about him is obviously he went from Lazio to Juventus, which is, I think, like going across the park a little bit at somewhere, probably like going from Arsenal to Tottenham or Liverpool to Everton. I don't think it's well liked, but he did go from Lazio to Juventus, and Juventus obviously got rid of him. But I think he's Ange with a bit of Italian style, or I know he's not Italian, but that style where he likes to play attacking football. 3-4-3 is his formation, I think. So with your attacking players, I'm guessing he's going to get a tune out of them.
We'll see, because we've got, apart from Solanke, who's proven, the rest of them aren't necessarily. They've got a lot to prove. But he did work with Colin Morani at Juventus, and when he came in there, he did give him a pinnacle role, and he did flourish, which was really good. And maybe he's just sometimes it takes a different manager, doesn't it, in a dressing room to get something different out of the same group of players, and that's all you can hope for, really, as well. I think that it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward. But the interesting thing of it as well is, I don't know if Romero is going to be. He's obviously had some disciplinary issues recently. He is the captain, but it'd be interesting to see how he deals with Romero as well, because he has been a catalyst to a few bad results recently as well. So if he plays free at the back, if he does play free at the back, I don't know if he is, who's going to use there. He's got Danzo, Dragozan, he's got Romero, of course, he's got Van der Ven. Does Romero, he is a club captain, sure. Does he make an example of him? It'd be interesting to see how the back three works out. There's no doubt that Romero is a quality defender, and I like his spirit and fight. But you've got to know when to use that and where to use it on the pitch as well. So, and he is a little bit clumsy, shall we say?
I think he'll back him. I think do you know why? I was about to ask you a minute ago. What do you think about employing a manager till the end of the season? He's not an interim manager. He's just a manager on a 6-month contract. So, as a fan, what do you think to that?
Well, who else are you going to get? He's going to sign on full time now when they're in the position they are. Yes, we're in the Champions League, but come on, we're not going to get much further on that because we just haven't got a squad depth, as we discussed about Everton, if they get there as well. So, to the end of the season is all that could be done. I personally, because I think a lot of it is about playing for your badge and playing for the club. I personally would have liked to have seen some element of ex-Spurs player in there. But I mean, is that Tim Sherwood? Probably not. But I would like to have seen some coalition with Defoe, Ledley King involved, that kind of thing. The real club stalwarts who know what it is to play for the badge and are really good players as well. I've got the licenses, so.
I think this guy might surprise you. You've got a 6-month contract. You got a 6-month contract. You get your bad boys in a room, Romero, and say to him, "Look, I'm going to back you. I've got nothing to lose to back you. I don't need you. You don't. in 6 months' time, I might be a thing of Tottenham's history. So I'd be surprised if he makes an example of him, because he makes his job harder for the 3, 4, 5 months he's there. I would say he'll back him and say, right, get it in tune, go out and be nasty, but just don't get sent off, and get everyone around him and do it like that. Because I think as a manager with a 6-month contract or less, you've got nothing to lose, have you? You have literally. So what happens if the worst happens, and I hope it doesn't, that you get relegated, he walks away still. If you do well and you jump up to 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, I don't know where you'll end up, it saved you, and he might get another year out of it, but he might not. And I think that's why he can play the bad boys and just back them, to be fair.
Yeah,
he's just babysitting.
He's not getting a contract next year. I very much doubt it. I think the writing's on the wall for Pochettino to come.
Yeah, but it could be that he goes. You don't know his morals. He might be going, right. I want to do well at Tottenham and get myself for the Man United job. You just don't know, do you? You don't know what he could prove himself, and he might have an ulterior motive. So that's why I think he will back the bad boys and just get results. Is what I think it will happen.
Yeah. I think, hoping. I really am hoping. And that's all we can do, really, isn't it, really, as a Spurs fan currently. And lots for us fan as well, of course. You know, you kind of feel for them being in this situation. But I think anybody who works with Marinakis is... I guess it's a bit like when people didn't want to work for Spurs when Levy was in charge. Well, at least Levy made decisions. And I guarantee if Levy, like him or loathe him, there's a lot of people who don't like him, a huge percentage of Spurs fans who don't like him. But yes, the club's brilliant, and we've got the business set up there as well. But if Frank, after West Ham, I think that Levy would have got rid of him if he was in charge. I think he would have. So, on that sense, he would have made the right decision. He might not have made the right decision who to employ after that, but that is also a lottery, especially with what we've got at our club currently. And there is something systemically wrong in just playing for Spurs at the moment, and the feeling there as well. But the Spurs fans will get behind the new manager, and they will, because we don't have much choice. We've got to go there and we've got to back them and just applaud them and hopefully get them across the line now. This is not about us being shit, excuse my French. It's about us now just surviving and just getting points in every way we can do. And if that's by playing ugly football and doing a 1-0, whatever, then we've got to do it. So the mentality changes. If people aren't putting the effort in and they don't want to fight for the badge, then I'd rather have a lesser player on there, because it affects the whole of the team, like any club, you know.
And that's what I think the problem with Dyche is as well. He didn't play pretty football, but he knew what points he was going to get, and I think he'd have been disappointed I think his win ratio was better than Nuno, and because he was only there he won 5 or whatever it was, got 5 results in the first 5. He had a really good win ratio. I think the problem you got is the times when you are drawing 0-0 with Wolves, it ain't pretty to watch because he doesn't play pretty football, but he'll get you results. And I think did they have something like 43 shots or something in the second half, I think, against Wolves, and drew 0-0. So there's an element of he's put the players in the right position to get the shots. He can't kick it in or head it in for them. There's an element of the players got to take responsibility there for what's happened. So, but we'll see.
That's right. I mean, if the manager can only set you up in a certain way and make the chances, and if they're not putting them away and they've got 15 odd chances in a game, then you've got to question the player more than the manager, I guess. And that's one of the things with Spurs. We just weren't doing that. But I was surprised after hearing about Nottingham Forest. Is that afterwards there was quite a lot of fan discontent about actually him being employed in the first place, and actually saying that actually Dyche it was a good day. He actually went and was able to go and got rid of him, really, because they didn't like the style of football he was playing. It was boring, etc. So you can never win. There's always going to be people out there, no matter what club you support, who actually go and they don't like what's on the pitch. You could be winning, you could be challenging for the title, and there'd be still people out there saying, yeah, we're there, but actually we're playing boring. So it's really, it just changes all the time, doesn't it, with managers? So good. Okay, look, that's the end of a football chat for a minute. Let's get on to some property stuff. That's right. Get off football. Yeah. But it's going to be interesting to see how it goes moving forward. Okay, so moving forward, I just want to talk about instructions, really, mate. spoke to someone the other day and I was having a chat about listings and things like that as well. And this listings, mainly in private treaty for estate agents, but also does resonate to auction properties as well. They were asking, what do you do on instruction? When is they asked me a few questions. When is the right time to walk away from instruction? Is there a right time to walk away from instruction? And I said, yes, there is. And then I went on to talk about sort of red flags and things like that, and 3 pillars of sort of gaining instruction, which I've always worked from. It's almost like a corporate thing, the classic triangle, if you like. But what do you have you got any experience? You've got loads of experience, but what about when you've gone into instructions where you're like, okay, I'm not liking this, red flags here, red flags there. Sometimes you've got to be brave enough to walk away from instruction as well, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely, mate. And I think it's probably fair for me to talk about the journey that I'm on currently with where I am now, because things change. But I have genuinely walked away from 2 listings in what are we now 6-7 weeks in, and I try and
what was that on, Jay? What was that on? Because people who don't know the 3 pillars, which I always work from the triangle, is right property at right price, the right person to deal with as well, because that comes into it, because you live with them for a transaction period, aren't you, yourself? And then obviously the fee as well, and that should be important, but not the driver. The price of the property is the driver, I guess. Really, was that the main reason why you walked away? Or no?
The 2 that I've done so far is that I wanted to keep my reputation high and intact, but it wasn't. They're not nasty conversations. They're just saying to me, look, when you instruct an agent, it's got to be a 2-way. I think people think it's all on them, if that makes sense, as the vendor, that they decide. Well, yes, they do decide, but it's got to come as a 2-way relationship, because it's got to be what I think's right and what they think's right for them. If it's not right for me, but they think it's right for them, it's still not right. And the ones that I've walked away from are price, when they knew what I was saying with comparables and stuff was probably right, but they couldn't afford not to get this certain price for it. I just said, look, I'm really sorry. What I'm showing you here, and you've agreed with me, doesn't state that you're going to get that. And one of them, bless them, they've overspent on the house. Said, I've overspent on it.
Yeah.
We bought it to do it up, to live in.
Circumstances change.
They've now decided it's not going to be big enough for them, but they have done, and I mean literally, mate, an amazing job. They've, in a 3-bed semi, they've put granite worktops in it. They've done lots of things that you would not do in a 3-bed semi. And I'm now saying, I don't know what I can actually get for this property. And this is what I think. You'd have the highest sold price on this street ever in history by a mile. This one sold in very good order that I sold in my previous company for this price. I think you can be this, and they wanted to list it for £40,000 more, because that is what it stands them at. And I said, look, I'm really sorry. I always say you do your own house how you want it to be forever, but you've had that unfortunate thing, like you said, a circumstance change. It worked out it's not going to be big enough. They've never lived in it because they've been doing it up the whole time. They've stayed in a rented house through work. And I'm now saying I just can't get that price for it. And I'm not willing to take the risk with my reputation and a new business. And they were like, I understand, but you always try and leave it you never want to fall out with somebody, because you know, in this game, Chris, as well, that things come round, don't they? You meet people again, either in that transaction where it hasn't sold, or in a transaction further down the line when they've maybe let it or moved into it for a while and the market's caught up. So you try and leave it. They're not horrible conversations, but I've walked away from 2 where it's just not been right for me.
Yeah, I've had a conversation last night. Actually, someone called me to sort of 6:30 last night, and it came up. And if I have a discussion about property, I always save it potential seller of so and so, and if I can answer it, I will answer it out of hours if I can. And it was the same conversation where I had a conversation with them previously, and pretty along similar lines. It just didn't work out for auction pricing, and I said, this is what you want to do. I would do this, change your agents, etc. Do this, maybe look at doing this. Even pointers on actually the description, which, you know, he was open to hearing. In my opinion, I think you should just do that. Make sure there's no picture of the garage on there. Just put it on as a picture, that kind of thing. Little things. And then he came back to me last night and said, look, I've done all this, and I've got to bite the bullet now, and I will come down to the rules of price now for you at auction because I need to get it on. So that's all you can do sometimes, isn't it? Sometimes give the right advice at the right time, and it will come back to you if you need to be.
Best advice. I always say to people, sometimes I go in someone's home. I went to one the other day where we got talking, and I was like, a bad agent lists this house right now. A good agent gives other options.
Yeah.
And they're not just, it sounds like textbook, but they'd had 3 other agents out, price, fee, walked out the door. And I said, did they even go through this? And they were like, no. And I always think to myself, when you go through valuation or market appraisal, whatever you call it, I call them valuation, still probably old school. But how do you go through a valuation without talking about someone's finance? I think it's impossible. I just don't know how you have a good conversation. And basically, the crux of it was they'd separated a few years back. She had bought him out of the house. Some work had been semi-done that they needed to get finished. He took a loan out. It was getting too expensive to pay the loan and the mortgage, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to sell it and buy a smaller house. She's got 2 boys. One's my son's age 14 and the other one's 12. She did a 3-bed detached, converted the garage to make it like a 4th room downstairs playroom. And I said, have you looked at these 3-bed semis? And she said, yeah. Problem I'm finding is, Jamie, the 3rd bedroom is really small. I said, yeah, you will do, because what you want to spend is 2 doubles and a single. And I said, your boys at the age where they're not close to moving out. They're actually going for that. The biggest stage they're at is the stage where they need 3 double bedrooms for the next 6 years or whatever they need.
Plus, mate, 35-year-old.
Yeah. So I said, you're not the right time. I said, well, what? So this is the reason, Jamie. And I said, okay, let's have a look at this. Got the mortgage advisor on the phone there, and then said, can we look at extending the period of time we've got this mortgage for? I think the mortgage is up in this year sometime. I said, I think we had to pay 3 more payments so we can make a remortgage, hence why they thought about selling it at that time.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I understand you don't want to work forever, but in your circumstances now, you might have to put your mortgage up for 8 years, get it affordable. And then when the boys have moved out and bits and pieces, you can look at it again and chop the time of period you've got your mortgage for down. And then, yes, you won't have to, you're looking at it, it doesn't have to stay 28 years forever. It can be reduced again once your circumstances change.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I haven't thought about that. I'd love to stay. I've done all the work to it. I said, well, let's look at it. So anyway, ended up remortgaging, changing the term length, got it affordable, stayed there. Bad agent lists that, good agent gives good advice. And that's the difference, because I know that will come back round in a cafe, in a conversation somewhere at work where she works in a big organisation.
Yeah.
That conversation will come around and go, I had 3 agents out. They just told me price and fee. Jamie came out and did this. And that's where the difference is going to be. It sounds like a blown my own trumpet, but it's more establishing people's motivation and what they're doing, basically. So it's just that whole of understanding the client and making sure the client's right for you and you're right for them.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And the right advice comes from asking that question as well, doesn't it? What's the motivation behind you wanting to sell? And
I can see someone said it really, but she thought it was a needs must.
Yeah, I get that. So when you are on instructions as well, what are the red flags? I've written 5 red flags here on instructions anyway. So one of them you just sort of almost said then as well, we need to achieve X amount in order to be able to move. That's said often. It's said often to me at auction as well. Obviously not the moving side. We need to clear this because without that we'll be paying back the mortgage. We're low more money, etc. And often the case that when people do buy at auction, they do overpay sometimes, get carried away with it, or do actually overspend on the refurbs as well. And then it becomes an investment model, which is expensive because the yield doesn't quite work out for what you've paid for it and what you've done to it as well. So I guess that the thing with that is that when people say things like that is, there's going to be people out there who will come along, like you just suggested, and just list it anyway because they haven't given that right advice. So then you feel as a good agent and good person as well, and knowledgeable in life, I guess, you have to go there and actually explain the reasons why behind it, and they will come back to you.
Yeah, I think that's more of an agent one, that one. But you're right, it is a red flag, but that's not the vendor's fault. They want that, and that's what they want for it. I think that's the agent to sit there and go, my comps are saying, yeah, that's okay. Or my comps are saying that's not okay. Like I just said in the first story, that's not
Yeah.
okay. And that's the agent's choice if they want to take that on their reputation. So maybe the vendor doesn't know that's a red flag, but it is. You sit there thinking, I think 200, the vendor needs 190 to clear it. That's fine. I think 200, the vendor needs 240 to clear it. We have a problem. So that's where I think that one is a red flag, but comes down to agent's choice.
Yeah, I think you're right. All right. Another one which have popped up as well is, and this is a classic. I used to love this one. It also combined with some of the other ones I'm going to mention. We'd like to sell, but we don't have to sell. What's the motivation there? That's a red flag, surely. So I had this quite a few instances where they like, yeah, we'd like to sell, but we don't have to. Okay, what would, and then get into the crux of what they actually wanted, and often it was then tailored with, oh, we sold last year, but we couldn't find anything. So is it achievable what you actually want to go and buy onto? Does that property exist for a start? Because often, as you've just spoken about, the person who wants to move to a 3-bed, often when you start looking around, I'm doing it myself at the moment actually, looking around at 3-bedroom properties. I live in a 4, sort of converted to 3 now. Those room sizes on the 3rd bedroom in particular are tight, and there's no way I'm going to get my 18-year-old son to move into a single bedroom. That ain't going to happen. So looking around, great, I'm going to have to pay more money for a better area, because that's ultimately why you move. Better area, better house sometimes. Yeah, sometimes that probably doesn't necessarily exist, does it? Either. So I guess that's when you have to actually hold their hand a little bit and say, right, let's find you some properties first. I think I can sell your property because it's a sellable property. Can we go and actually build chains, I guess?
That's where you get necessity and need, I think. And that as an agent, you've got to establish motivation again. Because obviously I've always worked for the company I worked for before, which was successful in what we did, but motivation, ability, need. And what's the motivation, what's the ability, and what's the need? So I think you're exactly right there. You're questioning the motivation. But I'd say there is we don't have to move. Yeah, but you've just told me your wife's fallen down the stairs and she struggles the stairs. So probably you're trying to just give me the edge to say, we don't need to move because we want a price for it. But actually, you do need to move. But you get the genuine ones, like you said, where on and off the market for the last 3 years. Your toes in the maybe camp, not in the need to move camp. And that's where I might go. It's different where we are, because remember, we have upfront marketing fees. But it's that can sometimes be a test for people. Go, oh, what's I had someone the other day. Oh, yeah, I didn't know I had to pay a marketing fee. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure, because what happens if I don't move? Well, you want to move. Do you know what I mean? They're the ones where they sort of, that will help you with them out. But I think you're right in that the serial maybes are a problem in the market. And that's probably why we only sell just over 50% of properties that are listed in the United Kingdom, because of that reason. But yeah, I think it's the motivation of the vendor, and a motivated vendor at the right price is 100% the people you want to be going after.
100%, definitely. Also, another red flag as well is when it all comes down to sort of, I guess, knowledge really. When they've had like 5 other agents out as well, and they're fishing for the sort of the best price, rather than using the right agent who's going to sell it for the best price they can get on the open market, rather than just listing price as well. And that happens quite a bit, doesn't it, as well, with regards to it? Do you have that quite in yours as well?
Yeah, we do, mate, to be fair. And I think everyone gets that. But they're the ones where some agents will be strong and say, if you've had, because they ring up and go, I've had 5 agents out, you're my 6th. Some agents will go, I'm not interested. And they go, well, what do you mean? So what are you getting 6 agents out for? It's because you want the cheapest fee, don't you? They're like, yeah. I'm like, do you want the cheapest fee or the agent that puts the most in your pocket? And they're like, what's the difference? I can tell you the difference. And this brings back to what you do for a living, Chris. But when I used to say to people, oh, you want the cheapest fee? They go, yeah, I can sell it for nothing if you want. And they go, what do you mean? Well, we have a method of sale which you can sell it for nothing because the reservation fee covers you. All right. Well, what's that? And then that's it. If you're the agent that I go back to supermarkets, and you might not have these down your way, but when I was growing up, the cheapest supermarket that was around my area was Morrison's.
Wow.
I don't know if you have Morrison's down where you are, but we have Morrison's. Yeah, Morrison's. My nan went every Thursday to Morrison's, wouldn't deviate. That's where she went, Morrison's. She went there because they were traditionally the cheapest supermarket there was. We had Safeway, can't think of the ones that were called at the time. Safeway, probably Asda, I don't know, Sainsbury's maybe, I don't know what they were. And then all of a sudden, Morrison started to decline when 2 more supermarkets came, which were Aldi and Lidl.
Right.
Because they've gone from being the cheapest supermarket to a supermarket with no identity, because they were the middle range. And that's where I think strong agents will, if you're the premium agent with the premium price, you aren't going to go to be the 6th agent, because you're saying, look, if it's free you want, I'm not the cheapest agent in town, and I'm not going to waste my time and your time. And that's where they'd be better to ring round and just ask everyone what the fee is, because they're actually not bothered about any of the words that come out of your mouth apart from what your fee is, are they? And I think you've got to be careful in which agent you want to be in that pyramid of where it is. And if you're the middle agent with not the cheapest and don't offer the best service, you're the one that I always think's in danger. You're the Morrisons if you're not careful, because you quite rightly said last week about disruptors coming to the market online and stuff. Well, they replaced your cheapest agent on your high street, didn't they?
Yep.
Because they used to get the agents, they used to get the instructions because they were cheapest, but they're not anymore. So what happened to, and we had one, I'm not going to mention because it's not fair, but we had one on my high street that closed. They were traditionally the oldest agent, I think, in the area. And they used to list on cheap fees and no service. And if it sold, it sold. And people knew that, oh, I'm on with them and don't hear from them, but I expect that. Well, that's where I think you've got to be very careful. So go back to your original question. If I'm one of 6, that's my decision if I'm going to waste my time and their time, to be fair. So, but you are right. That is definitely a red flag if you're not the agent that wants to be. So that's your bread and butter. If you want to be the cheapest of the 6 agents that go out, that's your bread and butter. You're like, here we go. I can win this. Tell me what the cheapest fee is and I'll knock 50 quid off.
Most of my appraisals have red flags are generally just on pricing. There's never really a fee for auctions because ultimately we're given a service and it's done and dusted straight away. But I would say that I did have one last week where they bought at auction through ourselves actually, and bought two different lots and then gained planning permission on both lots, and spent 30 odd grand, etc., for planning permission on it, and then expected to get some profit on that on top of it. And I was looking at demand, looking at what they got planning permission for, and thinking, okay, what's the usual build costs? What's the saleability for it later on as well? Who's going to be out there looking at all the different types of things? How many buyers will be there? And actually, it was like, well, I actually think at auction it needs to be this X price, which is actually what the price of one of the lots they bought at auction. So they were losing money on it, definitely. And I said, look, I would either build it out or sell it on the open market rather than going to auction route. And they said, oh, it's all right, we'll just go to another auction house. And I was like, well, go for it then. And knowing that they will be able to list somewhere else because somebody will take it, as they do in estate agency as well. But the right thing to do is actually give them the right advice from the outset and not be drawn in just for a listing. So
it's someone that's driven by listings, not sales or completions, isn't it? At the end of the day, like you said, I've got 15 lots in my auction. Great. Let's see how many of them 15 lots will sell, because you've got a target to get 15 in. It's that some people we could target, like you said, you want to hold a good record of houses actually complete in the auction, not just list in the auction.
That's exactly right. Yeah, they've got to sell and they've got to get interest. And looking at something, even if it's listed with a different estate agent or a different auction house as well, if actually that is priced correctly to get maximum interest, or it's like, okay, that's going to be tough to get that. You might be lucky if someone will fall in love with it, they're cash buyer, don't have to get funding on it, for instance, if it's on the open market. And the same is the same for auction houses as well. They might get lucky with one or two because there is opportunity there and added value. But to get the majority of interest on it, you needed to get it 10%, 20% lower, and that would have ultimately got it more money in the long run as well. So quite interesting times. I'll tell you what, was one thing I did have quite a few times where oh, my brother's an estate agent. My mum used to be an estate
Yeah.
agent, and you're like, oh Christ. Oh yeah, I've watched Homes of the Hammer. I get that quite a bit. So, do you know much about auction? Well, I watch Homes of the Hammer. It's like, okay, yeah. And I'm like thinking, shall I mention I've been on it a few times now? Or does that sound a bit like a twat?
Your first answer should be, have you seen me on Homes of the Hammer?
Yeah. You've seen me on the Homes of the Hammer.
Yeah.
Me and Martin, like that.
Exactly.
No, but I mean, that's the fun part of my job, I guess, really going on TV and stuff like that and doing things like that, because we are chosen to do that quite a lot in the Southwest, which is really good. In fact, all our lots we sell will be invited to be on Homes of the Hammer, just whether or not they actually go on there. So that's good. But I mean, basing your knowledge of auction, of buying and selling at auction, just from Homes of the Hammer is probably not the best route, really either. And I guess that it's education again, isn't it? And that's why a couple of podcasts ago we got frustrated about. Actually, it was with Tony Ruby, frustrated about how agents are perceived in just general life. You've got people on The Apprentice who are like flashy, all the cars, all the women. Yeah, this is me. Yeah, I'm a estate agent. I can sell anything. And then you've got the other side of it where there's just untrustworthy, etc. Any stereotypical estate agent on soaps is the same, isn't it? So frustrating because they need a better person as a voice, I guess.
I think it's frustrating because we are desperate to pull up the industry that we work in and make it a better and give it more credibility. And the worst thing is the people that get the access to do it are The Apprentice. They're a voice of me, apparently. I watch it all the time, but Places in the Sun, when they ring up and sit in a coastal at Tenerife.
Well, let me stop you there, mate. How many times do you watch that? It's often on TV and it repeats as well. You start watching it, you're like, these people aren't going to buy. They're going to change their mind. They're going to keep on looking at the end. They won't offer anything.
They sit at the end with a glass of fresh orange juice and go, "Oh yeah, it's Sue from Place in the Sun. Yeah, my client. Yeah, they want to offer 65,000. Oh, okay, yeah, let me go speak to them. There's no.
It's not real life.
No.
It's not real life.
Where's the proof of identity? Where's the proof of cash? Where's the conversation about how they're going to buy it? It's just a made-up phone call, and people go, well, it doesn't work like that. But they're the ones that get the exposure to be a voice of our industry, and it's a shame that they're not always the best people to do it.
I really do like sometimes. I would like to see them actually follow a really good estate agent who actually knows. Actually, to get an offer and put it straight in isn't always the right thing. There's a timing to it sometimes, as long as it's within 24 hours, of course. I'd like to follow that through. The amount of stuff that, for instance, estate agents do for their clients, and even be able to offer on other properties on their behalf as well. It carries a lot of gravitas if you are the right agent and you're knowledgeable and you're trustworthy. It'd be really good to see that side of it. Yes, there's GDPR issues and stuff like that, but I just don't think that. I know I'm biased saying this because I'm an ex-estate agent, but I just don't think the industry gets anywhere near the credit for what good agents do.
Too many agents are transactional, so they just do. I've put your house on the market. That's me done. That's one of my 20 I need this month. That's done. That's a transactional. That's why you don't go back to the same agent you buy through. I've got one of mine at the moment that's sold. They send me probably 3 properties a night to give. I said, look, I've not been in them, but I'll give you my honest opinion, do some research, and we have a chat about them. And one of the 2 they sent me yesterday, I was like, that's bang on. That is really bang on. And that's a great house for you. And they're reassured that I've done that for them. But that's what it's about. It's not doing the transaction, ring up, book a phone, book a viewing. Is that the best you can do for your vendor? Just speaking to the applicant like that? Is there nothing else you can show them why they're there? Are they in the area? What's the motivation, ability, need? And I think that's the problem with the estate agency. It's very transactional instead of being a journey. And being that I know we talked about it a couple of podcasts ago, but you want to be the agent of choice for the family, don't you? You want them to go, you remember Jamie sold our house and the one before and the one before. And when you sell and you buy, go and ask him and speak to him. And that's where I get like a lot of mortgage referrals from and solicitor referrals from people that aren't actually transacting with me now, but they ring me for what do I do? And it's like, well, I can't promise I'm going to have the house for you, but the rest of the outside package we can definitely sort out for you.
Mate, that's a credit to you and a credit to people like yourself.
There's lots of me, mate. It's not just me. There's lots of people like me. I would say traditional estate agents that have done it and been taught by traditional people with a modern touch to it is what I'd say is a winning agent.
Yeah, definitely. People who will pick up the phone and say, "Look, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? Would that sound like a good idea? What do you think is going to happen with the market?" Because your finger is on the pulse, regardless of what's happened to your local market and the wider as well. Because you go to networks and London events and things like that as well. So you have to be all of that as an estate agent. You've just got to be a voice box of knowledge, haven't you? Really. And what I always say with auction as well, I have so many people WhatsApp me things that they've seen right across the country. Say, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think about this? Do you think I get this?
So,
what do you think about the price on this? Have you seen this? Yeah, so which is really good. But ultimately, I would always comment on those. Yeah, I think, mate, that's good. It looks like this. Or actually, if there's any negative there as well, because free knowledge goes a long way, and they will come back to you every time as well. So it's really important. Really important. What we do really. But it is quite interesting about just giving free knowledge and advice out there, really. So yeah, it's all good, and it's all relevant to giving the service and knowledge what we do basically, isn't it? So give out free advice and go from there. Fantastic. Right, long may it continue, mate. You keep doing what you're doing. That's what you can do.
And you, mate, you're successful. I know we spoke on offline before we start, but your auction last week sounds very successful, mate. So it's a credit to you.
It was all right, mate. Upwards and onwards. The first of the year is always a little bit sticky because even though you have a good long period of marketing, it's over the New Year and Christmas period, which, let's be honest with you, a lot of people switch off and do family stuff, which is quite right. Life's too short. But yeah, it was good, and yeah, on to the next one in March, and plus the national lines as well. So all good. Let's have a look at the fixtures coming up, mate. If we could do, there we are. So you can talk us through these ones. I've got them on screen, but go in any order you want to.
I've got to fall back in love with football. What I didn't. Wolves Arsenal 8:00.
Oh, I've put that one in there. Sorry.
Is that not?
Yeah, that is
that a Premier game? Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
is that a Premier game?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, okay. That's the news to me, mate. I can't help but say, I don't have to think about it for too long. Even though Wolves are at home, I can't help but think Arsenal are probably gonna win that.
I think it's Premier, isn't it? Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, Premier League tomorrow night. That's very fair play to mate. I just can't help but think Arsenal win it. Wolves might score, but Arsenal score 3. Let's go. Wolves 1, Arsenal 3.
I think you're right, mate. It's going to be 3-1, definitely. Maybe even 3-0. I just can't see Wolves doing anything, even though we're at home. I just don't think there's been a bit of. They had a good result at the weekend of the FA Cup, Arsenal as well. So I think it's going to be an Arsenal win, definite.
Yeah, I think then you move on to Villa Leeds. This will be a test for Villa if they're going to cement that push. I know we said they weren't, but if they're going to push for the top 2 places or cement that 3rd, 4th place, they've got to beat Leeds at home. But Leeds is not an easy game, as we said recently. So that'll be a test for both. To be fair, it's a test for both. Leeds to keep moving forward and show the result against Chelsea was the 2-2 comeback was worth it. But Villa at home should be thinking they're going to beat Leeds. But I can't help but think this will be a 1-1 draw.
Mate, you're just jumping on my bandwagon before you even said it. I think it's 1-1 as well. I'm going to go different now. I'm going to go. No, I'll go 1-1 as well. It's fine.
Then definitely. We move on to Brentford, and this will surprise you. I'm going to let you go first because your Brentford predictions is definitely always good. But I'm going to say, I'll let you go first. But Brentford-Brighton, Brentford at home. What do you think?
Okay, so that is going to be a 2-1 win to Brentford. Brighton will go 1-0 up.
I was going to say 2-1 Brentford, but let's change it. I'll go 3-1 Brentford.
Yeah, I think they're in a good place.
Chelsea, Burnley. I know Burnley off the back of their first win in, I think, this season maybe, but Chelsea at home, I can't see Chelsea not winning that. 3-1.
2-1 to Chelsea.
Okay. Then West Ham at home to Bournemouth. Bournemouth didn't impress me that much, but beat us. West Ham, it's either going to be a 2-2 draw or 2-1 West Ham. Let's think what I'm going to go for. Let's go a 2-2 draw.
Drum roll.
2-2
There he
draw.
is. There he is. There he
2-2
is.
draw. Yeah.
Desmond Tutu. I am going to go for a 2-1 win for Bournemouth.
That throws West Ham down, I think, if they start losing games at home. But we'll see. And then Man City, 8 o'clock against Newcastle. I know Newcastle are on a bit of a revival at the moment. No Bruno, though, for 8 weeks. Man City, 3-1.
Yeah, I think you're right there with a Man City win. I think it's going to be very similar, 2-1, maybe 2-0.
And I know he's not on here, but Sunday's games, Crystal Palace, Wolves. Crystal Palace have got to beat Wolves for Steve's sake. Wolves, I can't believe they're playing again. How the hell are they doing that? Wednesday. I wonder why that is, though, because they're not a game behind, are they?
Don't know.
I wonder why that is. But anyway, Crystal Palace, Wolves. I'm going to go for... I want to say draw to annoy him, but I'm going to go 1-0 win, Palace.
Yeah, I think it'll be a twitchy win as well. I'm going to go for I'm going to go for 2-0, 2-0 Palace.
Okay, mate. Wow, baptism of fire for Perez, or whatever his name is. But Nottingham Forest at home to Liverpool. Oosh.
Not a chance. Not a chance. Liverpool are winning that.
Do you think they could get a draw, Chris?
No.
Do you think Forest could get a draw?
No, I don't. I mean,
defend for a lives, 1-1.
I just think Liverpool are playing a little bit better. They're a bit more fluid, aren't they? I'm going to go for a 2-1 Liverpool win.
I'm going to go for new manager bounce 1-1, which would be like a win for me, I think, if I was Forest. But yeah. Sunderland, Fulham, let's hear your thoughts on that one, because I think Sunderland have now lost that record at home. Will they bounce back with Fulham, or what do you think will happen there?
Sunderland will... I mean, it's just one loss, isn't it? As long as they need to get back onto it, just to cement a good season, which they're having. And I think Fulham, they obviously had a poor result as well. So
they've lost 2 on the bounce now because they lost to Fulham and then Man City.
Yeah, but maybe that's just what happens sometimes when teams have a above average season and they go back to the way they sort of should be, really. Because when they played Spurs at home when I watched. I didn't think they were that good. We were just really poor. So Fulham, but obviously Harry Wilson, as soon as he stopped scoring, then they're not winning, are they? So I think it'll be a Sunderland. You know what? I'm going to go for 1-1.
Yeah, I'm going to go Sunderland 2-1.
Nice.
Mate, I can't believe this. This might play right into your hands. You know that they're playing Arsenal play tomorrow, and then you're playing them Sunday at 4:30. This could play right into your hands.
They've got a good squad, mate. They've got a good squad. So
I know, but
but they have injuries.
Yeah, I think this could play into your hands.
Could there be anything more Spursy than Spurs beating Arsenal at home after they haven't won since 1882 at home? New manager, no one's ever heard of. Who you wouldn't, if you saw walking down a dark alley, you'd have crossed the other side because he looks menacing. The guy, he's 7'9", isn't he? Something silly like that. But yeah, I reckon, mate. What do you think first before I make a fool of myself?
2-2 draw. I'm just saying that as well. I mean it. I think it'd be a 2-2 draw.
I will take a 2-2 draw all day long. And something inside of me, it's the hope that kills you, says we're going to get something out of this. It could be that 1 point. It could be 2-1 win. Oh my God, I love that. But I also think it was probably more likely to be a draw.
But I think it'd be a score draw. I think it'd be quite high. I think it'd be 2-2.
He loves a 2-2.
And then to ruin the weekend, we have Everton at home, which are terrible at home, to Manchester United, where we went to their place, beat them 1-0. We shouldn't have won. Headbutted each other. Red card. They owe us it. I can't help but think it might go to the Red of Manchester. But in true Jamie style, he can't say that out loud. So we're going to go for a 1-1.
Are Everton better away at the moment?
100%.
Yeah. I just feel that whenever they get home, it's just something doesn't quite click. I don't know what it is. Is it the pressure or?
The only thing is we cannot play O'Brien now at right back because he's got a red card. So he cannot play in there. So he's got to play Patterson, Coleman, or another centre half at right back. So, or James Garner, but he'll be a miss in the middle, but he can play right back. But he's got to change that formation now, which is, I think, is nice. Even though I don't think it's a red. Well, if it is a red card, Marcus Gay should have had a red card for Man City. So but anyway, we digress. But I'll go for a draw.
What did you say? 2-2, did he?
1-1.
I'll go for 2-2 then.
Oof, I'll take that all day long if you offer me now.
I just think that Man U need to get on it. They'll leave some gaps. I think that. Yeah, I'm going to give 2 all. I've got nothing to really debate on. Just a feel. Well, we shall see what happens, mate. We shall see what happens. But it's going to be an interesting, and again, always is interesting. It's probably more interesting at the bottom than it is at the top at the moment, I guess. But yeah, that's it. That's it, all time, mate, on today's podcast. Thanks for listening to the Property Premier League. I've been your host, Chris Mervyn, ably assisted today by Jamie Aspland. Thanks, Jay. Have a great rest of the week. Come on, you Spurs. We'll be back next week.
Sunday will be the test, mate. We'll see where we feel by Monday after tea time, bedtime.
We'll be back next week with more insights and debates from the world of property and the beautiful game. They think it's all over. Well, you know the rest.